Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की जय, जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे, निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Is everyone comfortable?
Yes.
Too comfortable? So we are happy to be here at the home of Nanda Gopal Prabhu, his family, Tulsi's mother, Tulsi's two sons. They have disappeared somewhere. So, last year was my last visit, that was 4 months ago, was the first time I met Shyam. Shyam is back. And Keshav.
He's upstairs.
He's upstairs, thank you. So, even before they interact with you, you can see that they're very happy children. They have these beautiful smiles on their face always. Shyam is also a little melodramatic. He likes to be noticed by people because he knows otherwise people are in Maya. Everyone is in material consciousness, so he kind of enlivens the entire atmosphere by so innocently projecting Krishna from his heart. So anyways, Shyam had this really huge smile on his face, and I was wondering, why is he smiling at me? He's like, smile, big smile. And then obviously everyone must have experienced this with this wonderful child. He walks up to you, or if he's already right besides you, then he is very much interested in your private life. So you get drawn into him by his smile, and then you reveal your heart unto him. Free counseling right there. And then Shyam is followed by his brother, Keshav. And Keshav also has that smile. So the first time you get to see these two brothers and you see their smile, you are wondering, are there any more? Is somebody else going to follow up behind Keshav? So you don't get disappointed, because then you see their mother and she has the same smile. It's like ear to ear. And that is when you kind of figure it out that, oh, all right, this is where they get their smile from. Those big, warm smiles from their mother. But then you are in for a surprise. Because then you get to see Tulsi's mother. And she has not just a smile, but this twinkle in her eyes, like. It's so attractive. And then you realize that it's passed on from generation to generation. There's a parampara to the smile. And you feel all right, you figure it out. And then to your amazement, you meet Nanda Gopal Prabhu. And his smile is so brilliant.
Krishna smile.
Must be Krishna's smile. I have not seen Krishna's smile, but I have seen Nanda Gopal's smile. I mean, that's therapy right there. Their entire family is like I mean, you don't even know that they have a body. All you can see is that they have a smile. And it's interesting because their smiles can capture your attention. It's not just one, not two, but 5 of them. And that is where one gets a realization that it is so easy to be attracted by something pure and innocent. Just happiness that comes directly from your heart is attractive. The material world does test your patience a lot. Now you wake up in the morning, the weather is not good, it's -5 degrees Celsius. And if you're from India, you're in deep depression. And then it does not get any better. So at the end of the day, you come and see this wonderful family. It's therapy. That is what Krishna consciousness is all about. It's medicine for all the issues that we have in this material world. It's therapy for all our dejections that we face in this material world. Material world, Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, is undefeatable. He says, this divine energy of mine is insurmountable. So forget about even attempting to get out of this place. He says it's insurmountable. People have reached the tallest peaks. They've gone to the deepest trenches on this planet. There are even people who have tried to reach within the very core of your hearts through relationships. But none of them have penetrated all our existence as deeply as this material world has. This material world with her influence is all pervading. And what is her influence? Dukhale. It's misery galore. I mean, you look here, you look there. Yesterday, Acharya Nidhi Prabhu was informing me about how he got attracted to his house. He said, Sage Valley, that was attractive. And the number 1, 2, 3, that was really attractive. And then in the same breath, he says that all this space that you see, Prabhu, all this open space is going to be occupied by houses. Just imagine, you come to a community and you have this open space all around you, and within a couple of years, there are so many apartments and houses coming up there and commercial complexes. After some time, you feel suffocated. But think about our minds. That is how, any empty space in the mind, there are so many apartments coming up, houses coming up, apartments of our desires, houses of our aspirations. We try to clear up some space within our minds, and whoop, there is a new community of houses there. So many aspirations. Isn't it? Samsung comes out with a new model every time, a new phone. iPhone is there, then there is 5G, and then there'll be a 6G. People are still trying to figure out what is a G. And it's already 5G. So there's an onslaught on our consciousness. And day by day, we find that this invasion within our hearts, within our minds, is becoming more aggressive, more and more aggressive. The unwanted qualities of greed and anger and illusion is powerfully taking roots within our hearts. Did I give you the example of how one day I was walking down the streets in Mumbai and I saw a 500 rupee note on the street? I haven't? Okay. The mind. So I was walking down the street and the city had just laid down a new layer of asphalt. Tar. We have tar there. Asphalt? Everyone knows asphalt?
Yes.
Asphalt? Yeah. So we call it tar. Or in Mumbai, we call it dambar. Yeah, I'm trying to give you new words for your vocabulary. So the top layer is very glossy. Especially when it's freshly laid down, it's really glossy. And most of the people, when they see the top layer being glossy, they don't want to walk on that road because you're not really sure if you put your foot down whether you'll get your shoe back or not. Would it still be on your feet or not, on your foot? Because sometimes it's still wet. So this particular morning I was walking down the sidewalk just beside the road, and it had this fresh layer of tar on it, asphalt. And all of a sudden, and I sometimes can really walk quickly, like I'm fast. In Mumbai, if you're not, you get to miss your transport. So everyone in Mumbai is fast. So if you're on a pilgrimage anywhere in India and you find a few people like really walking fast when they don't have to, they're from Mumbai. Yes, Mumbai. Those who are in Mumbai, they have experience. You could miss your appointment if you are just a second late. I mean, if you just slow down for half a second, your entire world could change. Because you have to catch a suburban train which gets you to a bus, and the bus takes you to another train. Sometimes there are 3 connecting trains. So it's the material world practically, but still Mumbai is attracting more and more people. So I was walking down the street. I was going to catch my regular suburban train at the appointed time. You know, it's a very, very strong relationship that the commuters have with their commute. You have to be in Mumbai to be able to understand that. You feel more close to your trains and buses than you feel to Krishna. You're more aware of the train timings than you're aware of the Arati timings. You know, people ask, is it Arati time? You're like, let me just phone up the temple and inquire. But if they ask, is this a 6:10 local? No. It's local is a train there, the suburban train, city train. So I was in this rush, not rush really, but it's normal, fast walk. And all of a sudden, I stop. Because the topmost layer of tar has a 500 rupee note fallen on it. Now 500 is like a big thing in India. Nobody drops 500 rupee notes like that. So I kind of have second thoughts about it. Another gentleman who has been sitting on the sidewalk for quite some time, must be his regular haunt, He immediately passes a comment. He says, "Oh Maharaj, even you're attracted, huh?" Maharaj, aap bhi? Arre wah. And I'm like, no. I tried to give an excuse, but the fact is that I was stopped in my tracks. It's not that they are so rare, these rupee notes. They aren't rare. I mean, a temple book distribution, we get loads and loads of them distributing books. But still, it stops you in your tracks. Sometimes even a 10 paisa, 10 pen, a 10 cent coin can stop you in your tracks. Wow. Why is it? Because there's this idea that it has some purchasing power. I can purchase something, some object with this money. Now, monopoly money does not attract us in a similar way unless until you are like really wanting to play monopoly. You could have $1 million of monopoly money, but who cares? But a $10 note, yes. So these unwanted qualities, they are called as anarthas. Greed, pride, illusion, lust. They're practically mushrooming, like mushrooms growing everywhere in the hearts of the people of Kali Yuga. Therefore, one has to be very careful. Very careful. What does one do? One sincerely chants the holy names of the Lord. It's not a usual sight, a regular sight to see someone on the streets. I mean, here it's really rare, but even in India, it's not so very usual to find somebody with their chanting beads and bead bag on the street. And sometimes people are very concerned about you. A couple of occasions I've had somebody walk up to me and the person said, "Aapka haath fracture ho gaya kya?" Like your bead bag is around your neck and you have your hand inside a bead bag, like a sling, right? So, those people are thinking that बेचारा गरीब है, प्लास्टर नहीं लगा सकता. Some of them even offer you donations, like go to a proper hospital and get it fixed. So somebody comes up to me like, "Is your hand fractured?" I'm like, "No, my consciousness is fractured." And the sling helps me repair my consciousness. Would you also want to try it? I could give it to you for a day. So the holy names, they heal our consciousness. Because the consciousness is sick. It is diseased. The Chetana, the consciousness is afflicted with unwanted elements, anarthas. So we take up to chanting of Krishna's holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now when we were little boys, children, whenever we got hurt, we'd run to anyone who was around, any adult. And if it happened to be granny, then she would apply this yellow paste on you. She would just go into the kitchen and get this yellow paste. Later on we realized it was turmeric and ghee. And then we moved to the city, and whenever we had any injury, there was some abrasion or a wound, you go to the hospital and they would apply this white ointment on you, and you trusted them. When the granny would apply that yellow paste on your abrasion, you're like, yeah, this feels better. Or they applied the ointment, or sometimes they would. Oh, those were the days where we would have those really, this huge syringes and this really huge needle. They called it injections. It was more of like third-degree torture for a little child. It was like you're in a lockout somewhere in the behind police bars, prison bars, and you really felt that your body had been punctured in those days. Today, injections are like, it's like applying makeup. In and out, you don't even really realize what happened. But in those days, and they would the entire apparatus would be arranged right in front of you, like the nurse, especially if it was a male nurse, took some really demoniac pleasure in doing that to children, Hold up this really fat syringe, this fat, and they had those tongs with it. Lift it up. And then everyone around us convincing you, you'll feel better afterwards. And you're like, I don't want to feel better afterwards. I want to feel better right now. I don't want to receive this injection. But they would prick you with that injection. And then they would apply that ointment. And the wound healed. And then you grow up. And you study your ABCDs, and you study your biology and your pathology later on. And then you realize, all right, this is medicine. It heals you. Similarly, the holy names of Krishna, they have this medicinal effect. And many of us don't realize. Sometimes we feel that it is pricking us too hard, I don't want this injection. It's too fat, thick. Yes. But then people around us convince us it's good for you. Like if you meet somebody from the temple or somebody from the congregation, after a few days, the very first thing they may ask you is, are you chanting regularly? And you're like, wow, injection time. You just walked into the dispensary. Yes. So it takes a little bit of intelligence, just a little bit of intelligence to realize that these are well-wishers. So Harer Nam Eva Kevalam Kalau Nasteva Gatiranyatha. We had this devotee. He would go out preaching. It was interesting how he'd preach. He'd go up to a potential well-wisher and he'd say, if we worship Krishna, then Krishna will bless us, because Krishna says, or he would always say, Krishna says, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam Kalavanas Devanas. And the well-wisher would be like, yes. And then he would go to the next person and say, the material world is full of misery because Krishna says, Hare Nam, Hare Nam. For everything he just had one shloka. And this world is so ignorant of Sanskrit. It would work. They would think that he had some powerful incantation. Sometimes people would say, Prabhuji, could you also chant in this corner, whatever you said, It would remove the evil spirits from there. And a preacher was really very good. He would actually go to that corner and say, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, eva kevalam kalo naste, 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 gatiranyata. But that is true. In the age of Kali Yuga, the essence of that verse from the Brihadanaradya Purana is that in the age of Kali Yuga, the holy names, they heal you. They make you feel good about yourself. When we realize ourselves to be pure souls, part and parcels of the supreme pure living entity Krishna, the supreme living entity Krishna, the supreme Lord Krishna, you feel good about yourself. Right? Like all of a sudden you are visited by the Prime Minister of your country. I'm not sure if everyone likes him, but still. You're visited by the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister says, I adopt you today. You're my adopted child. Well, it may happen that everyone you meet, you're like, do you know who I am? You have such confidence. I'm the adopted child of the Prime Minister. I'm the Prime Minister's son or the Prime Minister's daughter. Imagine when we actually realize we are Krishna's children, how confident we would be. Like, hey, do you know who I am? I'm Krishna's child. Don't you dare touch me. So it heals you. The holy names of Krishna heals one of all our material afflictions. The holy name of Krishna gives us confidence about our own existence as part and parcels of Krishna. Once Srila Prabhupada was having this discussion after his lecture, and somebody just asked a question, or rather made a comment. And Swamiji, we are all God. And Srila Prabhupada said, why do you want to be God when you can be better than God? He was so shocked. He's like, better than God? I never ever had such an aspiration. My aspiration was only to be God. Better than God? What is that? Just like Nanda Baba is the father of Krishna. And Nanda Baba tells Krishna, Krishna, please bring my slippers. And Krishna runs in. And he brings his slippers, and those slippers are so heavy. Somehow Krishna picks it up with whatever strength he has. And then he realizes it is going to fall. Have you ever had that experience? You're trying to lift up an object and it's about to fall. And you kind of try and lift it up with your leg too. Two hands and the leg, and still it's feeling heavy. What do? You try and lift it up to your shoulder. Or maybe lift it up on your head. Normal, isn't it? That is what Krishna did. Oh, these are too heavy, these wooden slippers. So he lifted it up a little painfully, but he wanted to do it. And then he put it on his head. And now he felt that he could bear the weight. It's interesting. At that moment, Indra or somebody, if they would have visited him, and they would have said, Krishna, there are a few demons. Krishna like, hey, all right, they're gone. With a snap of his fingers, he could have removed any problems that are there in the universe. But here, he's trying to kind of hold up those slippers because they are heavy for him. And the reason they are heavy for him is because they're the slippers of Nanda Baba, his father. Krishna is trying to lift and carry the love of Nanda Baba. Why be God? Let's be better than God. Like when Krishna was in Mathura with Balaramji and his friends, and they were looking at all these sights. This was the first time in Mathura. They are from the village. And Krishna is like, all the cowherd boys are snapping pictures, like taking snaps. Wow, click, click. They're just amazed by everything. And suddenly this elephant comes out of nowhere. Huge elephant. Just as, if you're on the freeway and all of a sudden this trailer truck is in front of you, this huge trailer truck coming straight at you, how would you feel? You dump your car right there and jump out of the car, right? Well, Krishna did not jump off. He jumped right in. And Balaramji is like, Krishna, what are you doing? And Krishna is just follow my lead. And the two brothers, actually it's just Krishna. The elephant. Thank you.
Is it funny?
Yes. You're welcome. Thank you. So, this elephant had been trained up by people who were really deranged. Their minds had been so much overpowered by lust and their need to be powerful in this world that they had modified the way elephants behave. This elephant had been trained up as a war elephant, but then this elephant had been made an elite member of the elephant army. He was like one of the black cats, the commandos. Trained to kill. Kovalya Pida. So Krishna kind of just had some fun with him running between his legs. No, these elephants are trained. Nothing can run between their legs. Absolutely nothing. If anyone makes the mistake of getting in between their legs, the Yamadutas wouldn't have any body to carry. It would be squashed under their legs. Anyways, Yamadutas don't carry a body, but still, the subtle body would be squashed. That's how terrible these elephants are. Krishna kind of ran so fast. He was making this 8 in different ways that the elephant fell down. Kind of just stumbled over its own legs and it fell down. And then Krishna just jumped on the elephant and said, why do even I have to punch him? He kind of pulled out one of his tusks, and Balaramji said, well, you told me follow your lead. So he pulled out another tusk. And the two brothers beat that elephant to death. And as the elephant was dying, finally the elephant realized what was happening, and the elephant saluted Krishna and said, thank you for liberating me from Kansa's, his control over me, his power over me. And then Krishna and Balaram entered the wrestling arena. So what had happened was the cowherd boys, they hadn't really participated in this entire thing. So when the elephant was lying there, the cowherd boys walked up, and now they felt that they should kind of exhibit their emotions towards the elephant also. So they were dealing with that elephant's carcass, the body. Meanwhile, Krishna and Balaram had already walked ahead and they entered the wrestling arena. And as soon as they entered the wrestling arena, Kansa arranged for them to have a fight, to have a wrestling match with the wrestlers there. And it was an unfair match, but in the end, Krishna and Balaram killed everyone. All the trained wrestlers. You really put a lot of money into this wrestler. So Kansa lost a lot of money right there. His stocks crashed. He had invested a lot in these wrestlers. And then Kansa, out of his sheer madness, he ordered his soldiers to kill everyone, including Vasudev and Devaki and all the cowherd boys and all the cowherd men who had come from Vrindavan, and also his father Ugrasen. He gave that order. At that point of time, Krishna said, well, this is the last straw. So Krishna did a spot jump. You know what's a spot jump? Ever done that? Really? Spot jumps. No, not as... I mean, you have all of this facilities, gymnasium and things like that.
Else I can help you with?
No, please, no.
That was the answer, right? Right on time.
There's nothing she can help us with. Not right now. Yes. So spot jump is like you have both your feet planted firmly on the ground and then you have to take a jump. And the further you jump, you get a certificate or a prize. That's called spot jump. You don't do it here?
Like long jump.
No, long jump is where you kind of run and then jump.
Yeah, so you can still jump off with both your feet and then
Yeah.
you have to jump it.
Yeah, you have to jump like that. You've done that here?
In India, not here. Yeah. We have done,
We have lots of space to
We have
run.
done that.
Lots of space to... Well, in India we have lots of space too, like alleyways and people's backyards, front yards. But a spot jump, and that is what Krishna did, but he kind of, it's a world record. No one has even tried to attempt to break it. He jumped right from the arena into the stands. He did not even take a run up, like he did not do a long jump. It was just a spot jump, and so Krishna is right in front of him. And Krishna just catches hold of him with his, at his collar, like, and drags him down to the wrestling arena. And then he sits on his chest and he punches him. It's like your heart. Sometimes when things don't work in India, then we just punch them. Have you seen that? Many times when our machines don't work, we just either punch them or throw them on the ground, and then it starts working many times. Yes? Transistors, we used to have those
Yes.
radios, and cut.
Start working.
Yeah. We used to have these two-wheel drives, these vehicles called scooters. We'd call them scooters. So there was this one scooter made by the company Bajaj. Every time you had to have a dance with that, a ballroom dance with that Bajaj scooter, you kind of hold it close and put it down on one side. Very essential. So once Bajaj company, they got into making aeroplanes. And then the engine wouldn't start. So then their technical person came and he said, oh, you have to make the plane lean to one side. The engines, they kind of put it on one side. So the fuel has to go there. So Krishna, Kansa was definitely made in India, product like that. Krishna had to punch him to set him right. His heart was not functioning properly, so Krishna punched him a couple of times, and then, he had to give up his life, but his heart was cured. Now this news reached the cowherd boys late. They just walked into the arena and they saw, whoa, what all these dead bodies doing lying around? And everyone else is cheering, Krishna, Balaram, victory to Krishna and Balaram, Jai, Jai, everyone is cheering around. So the cowherd boys look at each other, what did we miss? Is there a recording of this? Krishna said, yes, 5,000 years from now, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there'll be a recording. But right now, there's no recording. So what happened? Well, they received, one of the people in the stands, the crowd, informed them that Krishna and Balaram, they had this fight and they defeated all these wrestlers. And like, when the cowherd boys looked at this really hefty wrestlers, did you all do that? Wow. They were having doubts about Krishna and Balaram. Are they the same people or are they someone different, So Sridama, he comes up to Krishna and he says, did we actually do this? And Krishna is like, whatever. So these other cohort boys, they are a little concerned. Are our friends Krishna and Balaram so powerful that they can not just defeat these wrestlers but kill them? I mean, when we would have wrestling matches, we would defeat them. So Krishna, are you the same Krishna? Or are you someone in the guise of Krishna? Krishna is like, I'm the same Krishna. Remember, do you want to go to someone's house and steal butter? I'm the same Krishna. Sridama said, no, it's not possible. There's one way we can find out if you're the same Krishna or not. Krishna said, all right, what is it? Let's have a wrestling match right now. You and me. That's it. If you say that you have defeated all of these wrestlers, let us see if you can defeat me in a wrestling match. So they have a wrestling match. And Krishna loses. Sridama defeats him. And Sridama is like, fake news. Krishna couldn't have defeated. This is Krishna for sure. I know. Krishna never wins against me. And it's actually true. Krishna has been trying again and again and again to try and defeat Sridama. And it's always Sridama who's winning. And somehow Sridama has kind of become used to winning over Krishna. He's like, anytime he's put up against Krishna, he's like, I've already won. So he tells everyone else, this is Krishna definitely. But the rest of it is fake news. Somebody else must have killed the wrestlers. And the crowd is, no, it is Krishna. The crowd is saying it is Krishna and Balaram. So why do we want to be Krishna? Why not be better than Krishna? Like Sridama can defeat Krishna. And Krishna can kill all of the wrestlers, but then Sridama defeats Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada is so right in his expression that why do we want to be God? Let us be better than God. By being Krishna's father or his mother or his friend or his cow or his favorite tree in Vrindavan. The Kadamba tree in Vrindavan is sure that this is the very place where Krishna would come and he would climb on my branches and he would call out for the cows. That Kadamba tree is completely convinced that Krishna needs him to be there or it to be there. The Kadamba tree is like telling everyone else, without me, how would Krishna call out to his cows? I need to be here so that Krishna can climb on my branches and with his flute bring in his cows. So in Krishna consciousness, if we follow the process nicely, and slowly we have this confidence that Krishna is the greatest. And therefore, nothing deters us. We are completely focused on our practice. We have faith in the process. This wasn't what I was going to speak. I had not come prepared with this presentation, but somehow I was overwhelmed by a family with smiles. Lord Chaitanya would bring all of his devotees to the Rath Yatra festival. It was a beautiful experience, a very beautiful experience. Devotees from Bengal would walk for days and they would reach Jagannath Puri. And then on the day of the Rath Yatra, Lord Chaitanya would come with all of his devotees to the Singhadwara, to the Lion Gate, a majestic gate that leads to the inner chambers of the temple of Lord Jagannath. And then with his devotees, Lord Chaitanya would enter the temple. And the servants of Lord Jagannath would be getting him ready to take the ride on his chariot. And Lord Chaitanya would see the beautiful services that the servants of Lord Jagannath would offer, the Daitas. And then they would lift up Lord Jagannath and carry him from the temple hall down the stairs, outside the courtyard, then down the steps, and bring him out of the Singhadwar. His brother and his sister are already on the chariot. And now Lord Jagannath is on the chariot. The king of Jagannath Puri, he offers Arati to Lord Jagannath. He seeks blessings of Lord Jagannath for all the pilgrims and for the entire universe. And then he takes a broom in his hand and he starts sweeping the street in front of Lord Jagannath's chariot. The king, King Pratap Rudra, he does it with such intense feeling, so much, with such pure intentions, that he has tears in his eyes. He experiences these symptoms, ecstatic symptoms within his body. Here I am, in front of the Lord of the universe, and I have this opportunity to sweep the street in front of his chariot. There are verses in the scriptures that describe that the goddesses of fortune, they are aspiring to sweep the street of the streets in the kingdom of God in Vaikuntha Loka, hoping against hope that Lord Narayan would come down that path on his chariot. So King Pratap Rudra had tears in his eyes, just being amazed at his great fortune. Meanwhile, Lord Chaitanya has arranged all of his devotees into 4 groups. In each group, he has a lead singer, a sweet, melodious singer. he has a lead dancer. Then there is a huge chorus. At least 3 to 4 mridanga players and 10 to 12 kartala players. In those days, there were no djembe. There was no big drums. Just us. And then Lord Chaitanya would ask all of his devotees to start Sankirtan. And there would be such a tumultuous kirtan. It would spread all over the place and it would reach to the outer regions of the universe. The kirtan was so amazing that thousands upon thousands of pilgrims who had come there would just be standing awestruck. And some of them would be so motivated that they would start doing kirtan and they would start chanting along with the devotees. And everyone would be so ecstatic. And Lord Chaitanya would become happy. And then the kirtan would reach a crescendo. And that is when Lord Chaitanya would start dancing. He would dance in one of the groups. And when he started dancing, every other dancer would stop. And Lord Chaitanya's feet would hardly touch the ground. Like a ballet dancer, he would twirl and twirl and twirl. And then he would jump into the air with his arms raised up high, as if inviting Krishna within his heart. And his golden body, with his transcendental perspiration, which would make his body more resplendent, his neck arched with his face towards the sky and his eyes glancing at Lord Jagannath. Lord Chaitanya would dance. And then he would go from one group of Kirtanyas to another group. And he would dance in that group. And the group that he had left to join the next group, that group would feel separation from him. And wanting to have Lord Chaitanya back, they would become more enthusiastic doing kirtan, that please come back, we are better than that group. So there was this transcendental competition. None of the devotees in the groups would kind of jump places. And the Lord Chaitanya would go to another group and then another. And this way he would dance in all the 7 groups. Now Lord Chaitanya would keep 4 groups of devotees in front of the chariot and 3 behind. And when Lord Chaitanya would dance, Lord Jagannath, his eyes would open wide. Already he has huge eyes. If you look at Lord Jagannath, he has more, his transcendental face has more eye space than anything else. Isn't it?
Yeah.
If eyes could be penthouses, then those are penthouses of Lord Jagannath. The huge eyes of Lord Jagannath. And when Lord Chaitanya started dancing, his eyes would become more wide, open. He was like, whoa, this is amazing. And then Lord Chaitanya would go behind the chariot to dance with the devotees there. And Lord Jagannath would become so distressed that he would practically want to turn around. But that would be difficult for everyone there. So what Lord Jagannath would do is that he would make the chariot stop moving. The chariot would stop. Lord Chaitanya would be dancing behind the chariot, and Lord Jagannath would not move at all. So people, there are these ropes that people pull. Ropes are attached to the front of the chariot, and people pull on those ropes, and those ropes, when they pull on the ropes, and the ropes pull on the chariot, and the chariot moves. Now, since the chariot has stopped, and it has not stopped by the intervention of the drivers there, it just stops on its own. There's no obstruction to the chariot, but Lord Jagannath would not move. He wanted Lord Chaitanya to come back. But Lord Chaitanya was ecstatically dancing in Kirtan at the back of the chariot. So then, being a little concerned, the king would ask his own personal bodyguards and his wrestlers to come pull the chariot, and they would take the ropes in their hands. The king's personal strong men, and they would come in, and everyone would kind of give them way. Oh, the big men are here, and they would take the ropes in their hands, and they would pull, and their arms would be straining, and the muscles are practically wanting to rip out of their skin. The chariot wouldn't move. And then the king would bring in his elephants. These are the king's personal elephants. Like millions of horsepower, energy there. And then the ropes would be tied around the elephants. And the elephants would strain to pull the chariot, and the chariot would not move. Everyone becomes concerned. What is happening? What is happening? And then Lord Chaitanya would realize that Lord Jagannath is eager to see him. However, Lord Chaitanya would not come to the front of the chariot. He would just go, and with his head, he would touch the chariot, nudging it ahead. And just by his touch like that, the chariot would move ahead. Everyone is very happy. Just by his touch. Lord Chaitanya would make the chariot move. And then Lord Chaitanya would come to the front of the chariot, and Lord Jagannath's eyes would open up wide once again, like, yes. Yeah. And then Lord Chaitanya would be so happy seeing Lord Jagannath enjoying the Kirtan that he would dance like a madman, mad in the ecstasy of the love of God. And now when he would dance, the devotees would become excited, and every devotee would feel, please Lord, dear Lord Gauranga, please let us have darshan of your dancing. And Lord Gauranga would expand. He would expand into 7 Lord Gaurangas, and he would be present in each group of devotees. And everyone would be thinking that Lord Chaitanya is in our group. He is not in their group. And he doesn't want to leave. He's right here. And that would make them so happy. And they would go bam, bam on the mridanga, like really loudly playing the mridanga and in rhythm, and their hands would be bleeding, and the kartal players, their hands would be kind of blistered. And the dancers, they were dancing and they had blisters on their feet, but none of them were even noticing the pain. It was as if, well, material body, what can you do? And then the king who was on the chariot of Lord Jagannath, he looked at this sight and he was like, he turned to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, his chief advisor, and said, "Whoa! Do you see what I'm seeing?" And Sarvabhauma, "Yeah, I know. I'm also seeing the same sight." "Is that really same people? Is it the same person that is in 7 groups, like 7 of them?" He said, "Yes." And the king was he felt so fortunate to be able to see Lord Gauranga perform this pastime, just as Krishna expanded himself during the rasa dance. Lord Gauranga expanded himself during Sankirtan. So if we do Sankirtan wherever we are, Lord Gauranga, Lord Chaitanya would expand within our hearts. And we would feel his presence. So this is the effect of chanting the holy names of Krishna. Not only does it heal us, not only does it give us this extreme confidence, being the child of God, it gives us an experience of God Himself. And not just any experience of God Himself, it gives us an experience of God in ecstasy of love of Himself. This is Krishna consciousness. This is what we have received from Srila Prabhupada. So why do we want to be anything else? Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatena nirmalam. Let us give up all other so-called designations that are simply allurements. They are distractions in this material world. I mean, the Prime Minister of this country is not the Prime Minister of any other country. Just one country amongst so many countries in the world.
And for a certain time only.
And for a certain time only.
Temporary.
Yes, so limited and temporary. So why do we aspire to have any designations of this material world? I mean, it's craziness. But then we have to be convinced of our true designation or relationship with Krishna. And how do we do that? How do we convince our own selves? We are so good at convincing someone else. Like sometimes our book distributors, they distribute books, so somebody asks them, "What is this book about?" "Well, you read it. You tell me." "Well, it's for you to read and find out." Sometimes we might as well distribute those books to ourselves, we may read those books. So, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. We simply have to serve Krishna using our senses. Because He can fully satisfy the need of our senses. Our senses need satisfaction and only Krishna can satisfy that. No one else. It's like if your need is to eat rasagola, you may have as much of, white cream, but then you're not satisfied because you want rasagola. So similarly, the heart is longing for Krishna. In the Krishna book, George Harrison writes that everyone's looking for Krishna. Some know it, some don't. So the heart is longing for the all-attractive personality of Godhead, Krishna. Nothing else is going to satisfy the heart. None of the relationships of this world is going to satisfy the heart. Only the relationships in the spiritual world. Because in all of those relationships, Krishna is at the center. Those relationships satisfy one. how do we do that? We need good examples. And the best example for service is none other than Krishna himself as Lord Chaitanya. Or Krishna himself who expands as Srimati Radharani. She knows how to satisfy Krishna. Sometimes she is longing for Krishna, making Krishna attracted towards her. Sometimes she is angry at Krishna. Sometimes she is in a different mood. And all of those various ways that these emotions that she exhibits is done as a service to Krishna. So, if we can follow in the footsteps of the best devotees, Ramya Kachidopasana Brajabadhur. Lord Chaitanya explains. It is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya actually. He says that the best worship is to accept that which is performed by the residents of Vrindavan. And what is the worship that the residents of Vrindavan perform? They chant Krishna's names, they glorify Krishna, they remember Krishna, they work, do all of their duties just so that they can have a glimpse of Krishna. Krishna is not different from his holy names, from his names. Abhinatvam nama namino, Purna Shuddho Nittamukto, Abhinatvam nama namino. There's no difference between the Nam and the Nami. The name and the person to whom the name belongs. There's no difference between the two. So, the name is an easier form of Krishna to approach. Because just imagine, you are sick, you can still chant the holy names, but if you're sick and Krishna comes, what are you going to do? You feel tired and you lay back and you can still chant Krishna's holy names. But if you're tired and you're laying back and Krishna is present right before you, you're completely tired. How are you going to serve Krishna? So the holy names are more merciful in that way. And the holy names, when we serve the holy names, it is as good as serving Krishna. So when we chant the holy names of Krishna, it should be in the same mode as the devotees in Vrindavan. They serve Krishna. And what is our service? They do it out of natural love. We may not have that kind of love right now, but we definitely deserve to love Krishna in the same way. We deserve to do that. And we have to become deserving once again. So we just pick up our beads every day and you say, all right, let's do it. And we chant the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And maybe we'll get to see Lord Chaitanya dance. And then we can turn to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and say, did you see that? He's dancing in all the 7 groups. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya would like, yeah, I know. Welcome to the real world. Yes. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments? Keshav?
What actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looks like?
Wow.
What he looked like, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
He looks like Krishna. Very beautiful.
We look so good. We look Krishna like Krishna's in our heart.
Yes, exactly. That's right. So Lord Chaitanya is golden in color, and Krishna is dark, strong. You like strong Krishna? So that is how Lord Chaitanya looks. Strong Lord Chaitanya. Is that all right? Good. Any other question? Yes, bro.
You mentioned about following the residents of Vrindavan, the Rajvasis.
Mm-hmm.
So is that from a historical perspective, like in the Srimad Bhagavatam, or people who live in Vrindavan today? Like what do you mean by the Rajvasis or following the residents of Vrindavan?
Follow the worship, following the footsteps of how the Vrajvasis worship Krishna. In order to be good at any activity, we need to know how that activity has to be done. Right? Like if you want to open this door, you need to know how to turn the knob and how much pressure you have to exert to pull on the door or on the doorknob, right? So either you kind of see someone else do it and learn from that, or you read the manual. So if we can observe, if we have the facility to observe devotees who have accepted the mood, who have kind of evolved such that they have the moods of the residents of Vrindavan, then that is helpful. Or we read the manual, which is Srimad Bhagavatam, and we understand. Is it all right?
Spontaneous service mode.
The spontaneous mood. Okay? So that is what we, association of devotees and reading the Srimad Bhagavatam helps us understand how that activity has to be performed by us. Any other question? Keshav, you have a question again?
I know Krishna is blue and strong.
Yes.
And he killed a big giant elephant. The bad guy inside the man was holding his ears, and he was trying to kill Krishna, but Krishna killed the elephant.
Thank you. That was very revealing.
I saw the movie Mahabharata. Krishna and Balaram was a team, and Arjun and Bhim and Nakul and Sahadev was teamed up, and they're fighting in the battlefield. Kurukshetra.
Yes, they are.
Really watching.
And all the names too.
And Arjun's Guru Maharaj, Arjun needs to kill his Guru Maharaj because the battlefield needs to kill everyone, and then Arjuna was crying because he don't want to kill Arjun's father, but he killed it. But he didn't get died. He didn't. But he's dead.
You're watching the right kind of movies. Very good. So can you stop here?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.